You're watching Canadian Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. From Toronto, Ontario, I'm Catherine Bullock. Assalamu alaikum and greetings of peace. Today, a conversation with Imam Sadique Pathan about the festival of the breaking of the fast, Eid Al Fitr. But first, some news headlines. BC Muslims gravely concerned after incident similar to London attack. Convoy organizer Tamara Lich awarded Freedom Award. Immigration backlogs prevent Syrian boy from reuniting with family. And Israeli police injure 42 Palestinians at Masjid Aqsa. And now the details. The RCMP have identified a suspect in what the British Columbia Muslim Association, or BCMA, says was a terrifying incident that should be investigated as a hate crime. As 3 Ramadan worshippers clad in traditional attire were leaving a Surrey mosque after evening prayers Wednesday, a car pulled up to them and threw an unknown substance. Police conclude this to be water. The car then returned and allegedly pretended to run over the pedestrians. In a Facebook post, the BCMA says to feign running over people is not a small matter. The George Jonas Freedom Award goes this year to Convoy protest organizer Tamara Lich. Calgary-based Justice Centre for Constitutional Freedoms will offer the award in a Toronto ceremony on June 16. Lich receives the award for her work to preserve constitutional freedoms in the protest that paralysed downtown Ottawa for weeks. For her role in the protest, Lich was charged with mischief, intimidation, and police obstruction. Lich is currently on bail in her Alberta home. She is not to use social media or to protest COVID mandates. The annual accolade is named after the renowned Canadian author, poet, and news columnist George Jonas. A 9-year-old Syrian refugee dreams of the day he will be reunited with his family. Adnan Khasa has not seen his parents for 5 years. He lives in Saskatchewan with his grandmother and uncle. His parents are stuck in Turkey with his 3-year-old sister Sham. Khasa is only one example of a family forced to live separately due to backlogged applications. By contrast, the federal government has streamlined Ukrainian refugee claims. They arrive in Canada within weeks. According to the UN Refugee Agency, there were more than 13.4 million Syrians forced to flee or internally displaced as of 2021. Israeli police injure Palestinians with plastic bullets and sound bombs after dawn prayers at Masjid Al-Aqsa today. The Palestine Red Crescent Society says 42 people are in need of first aid, and 22 of them were hospitalized. Police forces reportedly prevented the society's teams from entering the mosque complex. They forced out those in the courtyard of Al-Aqsa and closed the doors of the mosque for the last Friday prayer of Ramadan. Images shared on social media show hundreds of Palestinians from the occupied West Bank protest against the Israeli police. Tensions have been running high since the beginning of April, amid repeated Israeli arrest campaigns and daily settler incursions. And that's it for the news. Ramadan's almost over. Muslims have now turned their mind to preparing for their festival of breaking the fast, known in Arabic as Eid Al Fitr. To talk about the significance and meaning of this, we are joined with Imam Sadique Pathan from the Rashid Mosque in Edmonton. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the show.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure. You are Imam of a very special mosque in Canada, the Al Rashid Mosque. Are there special celebrations going on there as well for Eid?
Of course, we have our carnival, our yearly carnival. Finally, the children will have a chance to go outside and celebrate, and we have also, I think, festivals happening at our West Edmonton Mall, and of course, the mosques across the city will be having various celebrations.
That's nice. The festival is called Eid Al Fitr, or the Festival of Breaking the Fast in English. Can you tell us what the significance and meaning behind this festival is?
Well, of course, as the blessed month of Ramadan passes, and there's a lot of different feelings. It's a great moment of celebration, and that 30 days of turning to Allah, fasting, and trying to reach our greatest potential in spirituality, in goodness and brotherhood, in communal, in global citizenry. These are things that we aim to do, and of course, what better way than to celebrate as a community, young and old, from every part, to attend and celebrate with Allah, praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, saying the takbir, saying the Allahu Akbar out loud, that Allah is the greatest, that ultimately after 30 days we've recognized that the center of our world is Allah and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that's essentially the purpose of Ramadan.
I know the excitement when you go to the mosque and you see people, and just sort of like the joy of having survived this 30 days of fast, especially in summer. But I understand that Eid Al-Fitr is called the lesser Eid, but it somehow always feels bigger than the subsequent one, which comes at the end of Hajj. Are you able to sort of talk about that a little?
Well, it's called the lesser Eid, of course, because it's the bigger Eid. It follows the Hajj, and that's a bigger sacrifice related to Prophet Abraham, and of course the Hajj pilgrimage. And there's a lot of emphasis, of course, on the Hajj being such a great pilgrimage and its relation and meanings that it has related to that. But Eid al-Fitr is very different in that it's very, very much about the celebratory celebration across the community. So families are celebrating. Everybody was involved in this directly. So there's often this, the gift giving, the wearing of your best clothing, going out and really feeling this joy that we've been looking for. And COVID and all these situations that we've been experiencing, it actually has, compounded the need to go out there and to be going outside as a community and saying, thank you, Allah. Thank you for bringing us at this situation, at this point where we were able to observe devotions and fasting. And now we're here to say, thank you, Allah. Thank you for everything you've given us. And we hope that, inshallah, that Allah accepts for each and every Muslim. And that's that difference. I think with the Eid Al-Adha, or the festival celebration of the sacrifice, sometimes we feel a bit distant from it. And that Eid al-Adha, or the Hajj pilgrimage itself, is somehow further away from many of us. We're not able to participate. But of course, it's very significant.
Right. Let's say there's someone in the audience watching and they're not exactly sure what happens on Eid. Tell us about a typical Eid day.
Eid day is so much joy, is all I can say. It's the day where everyone wakes up super early, starting the takbirat, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah. And everyone starts this morning, and of course, typically we're recommended that we take a shower, we dress in our best clothing. Everybody in the house is preparing. There are sweets typically where the house is beautified and ornamented and decorated. And then, of course, the families, husband, wife, children, typically will go out in their best garb in a very happy, situation where the kids are waiting for their gifts, usually in the form of money or gifts, sweets and candy, and everyone goes to the masjid. And it's there where everybody joins in a thunderous chorus of takbirat and
saying this word takbir, I need to pause you for a minute. Just translate it in case there's nobody understanding this Arabic word.
Oh yes, the takbirat, of course, is saying Allahu Akbar, God is the greatest, saying the praises of Allah, singing the praises of Allah, and to say it loud. Right. This is a proud day. And the day, of course, of Eid Al-Fitr and Ramadan and all these dates correspond historically with some very significant historical references in Islamic history, including the victory of the Battle of Badr, where the Muslims were very vulnerable at the time, and they were victorious, alhamdulillah, against a very oppressive regime. And then, of course, it's a symbolism of the liberation of Mecca. This is a liberation not only of the city of Mecca, but rather the liberation of our human self, our human conscience from the enslavement to creation, and rather a liberation and surrendering to Allah.
So you said you used the word thunderous, which I really love, and we go into the mosque and there's like 500 or 600 people saying the same words all together in unison, and then there's a special prayer and a special sermon, and then afterwards hugging and, as you said, gifts and all of that. I know that there's also a hadith. There are some communities where women aren't always encouraged to go to the mosque, but on this particular occasion, the Prophet, peace be upon him, said like to bring out the women as well. So it's really emphasized for everyone to attend.
Absolutely. Even if women are unable to pray, they're still advised to come, young and old, and everyone is invited, because it's a celebration. It's this great sort of reconnecting and really once more coming out with pride in our faith, not pride in ourselves, but pride in our faith that we have gone through this 30 days of schooling, spiritual schooling, a spiritual tarbiyah or education. And finally, we've come to recognize that we can become a higher self. We can leave our sort of animal instinctual self and become this amazing, enlightened individual and community where we once more center our praises to Allah and again awaken the heart, the conscience, and this need to be together. Islam is not something that works in isolation or in silos, but rather it is something that enjoins people to celebrate together. We're a community. We have to look after each other. We have to see each other as well.
You mentioned Ramadan as a schooling, and it's true, and it can be really tough schooling for some people. There's only 2 or 3 days left of Ramadan, and maybe somebody's feeling, oh, I got a C, or I got this Ramadan schooling test. Can you share? We don't have a lot of time left, but just some encouraging words for someone who might be feeling that they didn't do as well as they wished.
This is a month where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving at every second and every moment. And throughout the entire month, He has given us numerous opportunities, and especially these last few nights, we're still at the opportunity of attaining Laylatul Qadr, the night of power, which is greater than 1,000 months of worship. Let us return to Him, let us run to Him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us, قُلْ يَا عِبَادِيَ الَّذِينَ أَسْرَفُوا عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ لَا تَقْنُطُوا مِنْ رَحْمَةِ اللَّهِ. Where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, oh, my beautiful servants who have been distracted, don't be in despair of Allah's mercy. Allah will give it. So this is where we have to look at these opportunities. Allah is looking for a way to help us become much greater than how we entered. And we only need one moment. We only need one moment, inshallah. So the doors are always open. Please don't lose any hope or despair. Allah's love is there for all of us.
So we're out of time, but thank you for those inspiring words. We're almost at the end of the race, and you're telling us to take that one breath and push forward to the finish line. We hope you have a happy day with your community and your family. Thanks for joining us.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much. Jazakallah.
Bye. Thanks for watching Canadian Muslim News. We hope you have a good preparation for Eid on Monday. If you like what we do, please share, like, and subscribe. Stay safe, and God bless.